Hello, on this video I'm going to show you how to assess evidence, how to upload evidence and how to reject evidence. So I'll log in as the assessor. I'm logging in as the assessor and there is a piece of evidence that was uploaded by a learner earlier, and you can access this by clicking on Assessment Decision. Right, so for the purpose of this we're actually going to reject this evidence as it shows there for one reason or another it's incorrect. If I wanted to open it I could click on that, but we will do that in the next example. But for now I'm going to reject it. You are then asked to put a comment down as to why. And submit. Are you sure you want to do it? You do get a warning, as it says, it will not be possible to amend this decision once you have actually rejected it. And it's now done that. You can send a task to the learner to explain to them as to why you've rejected the evidence, although the learner will be able to see that when they log on and go under rejected, as it is there now. But you can send a task or a message to the learner via the task option, which I will show you in another video. What we're going to do now though is upload. As you'll see, there's 3 buttons. Now as the learner only has upload evidence, the assessor has 3. You can upload evidence, upload documents and generate reports, which I'll show in other videos, but for the report function. But the upload documents is where you might want to store something that isn't going to be used as evidence. It could be anything like evidence from their training qualification. It could be evidence of their functional skills. Anything that's not going to be used as direct evidence for their MBQ can be stored there. So you have it all in one place. Again, some examples are where people keep their reviews in there. So again, you've got them all in one place. But for today, we're going to upload some evidence. So we'll click that. Select, and we can say it's an observation. We say it took place on this date. And then browse where the evidence is. As you can see, it's opened up the box. I've selected where it is. And it's there now. I can click Save. So the evidence is being uploaded into the unassessed option. Click OK. It's now loading this up, and to see the evidence, it's there, the unassessed. Now, if I wish to go and assess it now, it will stay there until it's assessed, but I can go in there, click on it, and it's showing me it's a document. So I can click on the document. Now, you may have examples where it asks you to download files. You can see them at the top of the screen. It says to help protect your security. This is a quirk with the Internet Explorer. It doesn't do it with other browsers, but it doesn't do it every time you upload evidence. Just click retry, and you'll find it takes you back to the front page. There we are, and it shows there when the page is reloaded. I can just click that because that's the name I gave the evidence, and it will take me straight to the evidence, so I don't need to go into the learners folder to find it. Click on it again and it will open. Just has to load the page. And the page is now open. So here's my evidence. I can leave this open. I can shrink the evidence down. As you can see, the evidence is there, but I can accept it now as the evidence is correct. What we'll now do is present me with the units this learner is doing as part of their qualification. And I can go by clicking the unit name. It then shows me the overall name. If I want the content within that description, I click on the purple triangle here and it will show me. And as you will see, beside each requirement it has 2 clickable buttons. Above them it says full and part. So sufficient, is it fully sufficient or partially? And it has a comments box there. The reason for these 2 boxes is if you feel the evidence clearly covers all the requirement there, you would click full. But if you feel it only covers parts of it, then you would tick partial. So for the example of this, I'm going to say that it doesn't contain, I'm going to tick partial as it doesn't cover risk assessments and manager's information. Now, so I know that's why, and obviously that's why the comments box is there, for any reasons where you need to explain as to what the reasons for your actions. So to do this, rather than type it all out, I'm going to highlight this information, right click and copy and put in there 1.1 for that. And then I'm going to put down, I feel it covers all of that, so I'm saying it's fully covered those. And a 1.4, I'm going to say yet again, it doesn't cover method statements, manager's information and risk assessments. So again, right click, copy and put in there 1.4. And just to preface that, I'm going to put the needs to be covered. So anyone that looks at the folder can clearly see that's why I've ticked partial there and partial there, because 1.1 and 1.4, those areas still need to be covered. You can then click that again and it will hide. This is to save you having to keep scrolling up and down the screen. I can click 2.1 there. I'm going to say all this has been covered. And that one there hasn't been covered at all. Now, if you had an audio or video recording, a number of centres that use Skillsfile use this box here to actually put in their whereabouts on the recording has been covered, as obviously your IQA and the QA or EQA do not may not wish to or have time to look at a whole video or listen to a whole audio. They just need to go directly to the part which you say covers it. So for example, although this is not an audio or video recording, I'm just going to give you an example. So we're going to say that's been covered and that's been covered. And we put in there 3.1 minutes 1 to 3. And then we're going to say 3.2 minute 3 to 7. And therefore, the IQA and EQA can go directly to the evidence to see where it's been covered. And we're going to say that's all that's been covered in here. So what I do now is I click Assign. And it says, are you sure you wish to assign this piece of evidence to this unit? You click OK. And what it's now doing is linking that evidence to that criteria. And what will happen next is you'll see a summary against that unit there. And that's what it's saying it's covered. Now what you can do now is you don't need to upload the evidence again to cover off any of the other units. as it's holistic assessment, you may find it also goes towards parts in this unit. So again, you just click in this unit and repeat the process. So we're saying here it covers that. We'll leave that as it doesn't have anything in there. We can say it covers this one. But we're saying this one, it doesn't cover them, so we'll right click that, copy, select partially covered and put in there 2.3 need to cover the following. As I said, this is not a prescriptive way of explaining to you how to do it. This is just an example of how you may wish to do it and how some centres are. Naturally, we're not going to be prescriptive and tell you how or what to put in the boxes. It's merely a guide. So again, we'll go to the bottom, click Assign. Are you sure you wish to do this? Yes. And again, when the page is linked it will give us a summary. It's now showing us it's mapped to those. If that's all that we feel this evidence can cover, we go to the bottom box where the assessor puts his comments. Again, this is not being prescriptive. We're merely suggesting something that you may want to put in the box. When you click the Assess button there, it will say, are you sure you wish to save? It will no longer be possible to change the assessment decision made against this piece of evidence. So once you do click OK, it is locking those criteria to that piece of evidence and the decision you made. Now earlier on I mentioned about plans. Now this is what you can do here, is you can create a task for a learner. Now, the reason the option was put here was that many of our users suggested that after assessing a piece of evidence, you often have it clear in your mind as to what you want the learner to focus on next. Hence, that's putting the option to create a task here. Now, I'm going to go through how to create tasks on another piece that I'll be a video. So we won't go through that here, but I will show you how to create tasks for the learner, and there is more than one location to do that. But for this example, we'll click OK. We can go down there and see the green bars actually moved. They've now done 7%. Now that is overall for the whole qualification. If you want to see that broken down by unit, you just click the unit button there. And what you now get is an example of the evidence that we've just referenced as to what it's covered in the units claimed. You can drill down further into these if you want to see what you've covered. You just go to the corresponding unit, and it shows you there what's been covered off, and it shows you partial or it's been fully covered. If you want to see the evidence, you can click View, and it will show you the evidence you've uploaded that you've already assessed. Now, as I mentioned, once you've clicked Assess on this evidence, after you've mapped it, it says you may no longer be able to change anything. But, for example, if you felt there was something on the evidence that you could have used, but it's already been locked, you can create a copy of it. This is what the clone button's for. If you click clone, it will give the option to create a new version of it. You can either leave it as copy of, you can change the name of it if you wish, so you can do that here. So for this, we'll put an example of and we'll just click OK. What that is now doing is saying it's been cloned. It is now putting a fresh version of it back into the unassessed box, and there it is. So it may feel that even though you've mapped that piece of evidence to these previously and you've locked it, but what we've just done is created a copy of it to reassess, because as it may go towards other units or other criteria within those that you'd missed at the time. And how we did that was by going into the unit where the evidence is, so it's QCF09AV2, going to View, and then clicking Clone. So if you want to go back to the front of the portfolio, you click Qual, and it there shows you the progress that the learner's made due to that evidence being assessed. Thanks very much. Bye.